don't feel like a spooky smart bitch right now. I feel like a spooky dumb bitch. So I saw Jorline was doing a spooky smart bitch readathon, and obviously I had to join it. This runs from the 24th to I think the 30th. It's that whole week, and the goal is to read as many books by BIPOC authors and LGBTQ authors, and with neurodivergent MCs, as much diverse horror as we can get our hands on. So I'm super excited. I feel like I've collected a bunch of books that work for the prompts, and it feels like kind of like a warm up to all of the horror readathons that I want to do in October. Like this is like a good get into it before we start going hardcore with the 48 hours stay up all night until midnight reading horror at 3 a.m. kind of things. Like this is like a nice, easy little gentle slope into madness, which I'm here for. So let me tell you what I plan to read. I'm not following all of the prompts exactly, but I have 5 books that I want to get into. So I have these 4 all from the library and 1 more audiobook from the library. The audiobook is The Monster of Elendhaven, which is kind of Frankenstein-y in feel. It's a novella. It's very gay. It's about this kind of academic wizard guy who wants to unleash a plague on the entire city, and this guy who presumably died and was thrown into the ocean and then came back as a monster that you can't kill. It seems like an interesting dynamic, and the world building seems really good, so I'm curious for it. It's also really short, so I feel like I will definitely be able to finish that. I think it's 4 hours, the audiobook, so nice, quick, breeze through it. And then I have these bad boys. I was realizing while I was going through and trying to pick books that fit the prompt, that I've actually read a bunch that would have worked, that I really, really liked. I'll list a couple of them down below. The Half-Life of Valerie K. Not specifically listed as horror, but it is horrifying, and it has a neurodivergent MC, and it's super gay. You have to read it. Also, Leech, if you can handle a little bit of body horror. Non-binary, interesting sort of concept about this plague doctor treating this plague in this northern Siberian-esque fantasy text. Really good. You should read that one if you're looking for recommendations. Anyway, the ones that I have here. So we'll start with this one. Mr. Magic by Kiersten White. I know a lot of people really hated Hyde that she wrote a few years ago. That one was a haunted amusement park thing. It's also a little bit gay. I don't know how gay this one is. I know that the MC is bisexual, so I feel like this counts. The MC is also depressed and racked with anxiety, which also fits with one of the prompts. So it should be good. I know everybody hated Hyde. I really liked it. People were saying that the dialogue was terrible. I didn't feel that way, so I don't know. I have terrible taste, but I'm so excited. I think I'm going to like this. It's about a bunch of kids reuniting to talk about how they were cast on this Mr. Magic TV show from their childhood that nobody can remember and nobody has any footage of, and it ran for 50 years and nobody even has a picture of the Mr. Magic guy, and you're not supposed to say his name, and it just seems like my jam. It seems fun. So excited to read this one. We also have Holly Horror, which is written by a POC author, Michelle Jabez-Copra. Butchered that, probably. This seemed campy and wonderful. It's essentially just a haunted house. But as I was rereading, I just picked this up in the library because it seemed like it would be cool. I didn't do any research on it, and now realizing that this is Holly Horror as in Holly Hobby, except if she was an undead evil ghost. Which if you don't know who Holly Hobby is, it's like a Raggedy Ann style character. My grandma's really into her. It's an older kind of reference. But I didn't realize that when I picked this up, and I discovered that recently. I was like, that makes me love it more. Just like a creepy craft doll. Yes. Haunted house? Always. I'm really hoping this is at least decent. Just this is Luminous Dead by Starling. This is by a trans author. It feels very, it seems to have like this kind of vibes, dead silence, which I really loved. Not everybody loved it, but I really liked it. It's giving me kind of like this sort of vibe. I am always kind of a bit on the fence when it comes to sci-fi, but I do love when it's done well. So, like, I'm just not into, like, time travel and other dimensions. That doesn't, like, excite me as much, but, like, Alien? Yes. Give me all of that. So, we'll give this one a go. Then, when I was at the library picking up the other books, I also found this, which is a Gothic short story anthology compiled by Silvia Moreno-Garcia and Paula R. Stiles. So Silvia is always mentioned on like BIPOC horror lists, but the synopsis of her books never really interest me. I'm not a romance kind of girly, so I've never been compelled to get her stuff. I don't think I would like it, but I do love a good Gothic horror. And if there's any in here that are like hardcore romance, I can probably just like skim those. But I do love a good anthology. I think this will be fun. It'll be quick reads. I can take this along with me on the go. Like I'm ever on the go. Come on. So these are my buddies. I don't anticipate that I'll get through all of these. Honestly, Monster of Elendhaven, I will definitely get through. I will probably get through at least 2 of these books. I think my goal is to get through 3. If I get through all 5, I'll like buy myself a cupcake to celebrate or something, because that would be pretty good. I am 11 books behind on my Goodreads goal. I've only read like 46 this year, which is a ton. It's a lot. Most people read like 2, so happy for myself. But if I could play a little catch up this week, that would be good. So I'm excited to start tomorrow, and we'll see how it goes. Wish me luck. Hi. Please ignore my grungy sweatshirt. This was part of my slutty Miss Trunchbull outfit for Halloween, but all of the letters have fallen off. So, it's giving post-apocalyptic Miss Trunchbull, which is also a vibe. Anyway, today is the start of the readathon. It's a Sunday, but Sunday is a work day for me, so my plan is to get through the Monsters of Elendhaven while I am working, and then hopefully I really want to start Mr. Magic tonight. I feel like I'm really gonna like it. I'm pumped for it. So that's the plan. Ideally, I can finish Monsters today because it's a very short audiobook, and then I can maybe knock out the first 50 or 60 pages of Mr. Magic. We'll see. Wish me luck. It's about 1 o'clock, and I just finished Monster of Elendhaven. I feel like so I was listening to an audiobook while I was working. I don't know if I read it as much as I like absorbed it. It's a very short book. I think what they did with the relationship dynamic between the monster and like the Frankenstein-esque kind of character was interesting. A little spicy, and I liked it. I feel like there's definitely some subtext that I didn't get. There was a little bit of it that went over my head, but that's not to say it was like a super complex literary sort of thing. I really like the world building in it. I would absolutely like play a D&D campaign in that kind of world with that kind of magic system. It was just very creepy and dank. It was very like the seaside town in a series of unfortunate events with the like house on the cliff. That one. Yeah. Yeah, it felt very much like that. I love a creepy, sad seaside town. Excellent. If you like Frankenstein, you'll probably really like this. I'm not a Frankenstein kind of girl, more of a Dracula girly, but yeah, it was a solid 4 stars for me. It was good. The writing was perfectly serviceable. So hopefully I can get started on Mr. Magic after work. I'm excited for that, but I feel like a success getting through at least one book, so it's not awkward if like the rest of my week falls off a cliff and then I don't get anything else read. I at least finish something. So that'll work. So I'm probably heading to bed soon, but I did get through 130 pages of Mr. Magic. I really like it so far. So far they've just kind of set up the premise with Val, who is one of the 6 kids who was originally on the show. Val was like essentially stolen away by her father, and has now met the rest of the cast and crew, and she's lost her memory and they have to kind of fill in the gaps, and they're all going to this podcast reunion where they're gonna like sit and talk about the show. And I probably mentioned this when I was talking about the book, but essentially like there's no media left over, so there's no like primary source material for the show. It's really just whatever people remember, because any like pictures or actual like documentation gets immediately taken down off the internet. So it's really interesting. I have a couple of hunches, but I don't want to like spoil anything. So far, Val is managing to, the main character is managing to ride that line of like, I'm anxious and I don't know what's happening without being completely helpless and passive, which is kind of a pet peeve of mine. Because sometimes when you get a character that's really anxious, you'll just hear this repetitive voice in their head that keeps them from moving the plot forward. But I feel like there's like a measured, like, I'm stubborn and I'm really gonna fucking do this, even if I'm terrified energy from her that I really like and respect. So yeah, I'm excited to read the rest. Yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hi. This is your day 2 update before I get into day 3. Day 2, I just didn't really have time to vlog. Nothing interesting happened, except for I finished this late last night. I say late last night. It was at like 9:30. I stayed up 5 minutes after my bedtime to finish this, which I think speaks to how much I was enjoying it. Yes, I'm an old lady. Don't judge me. You'll be like me one day too. This was good. I liked it. Again, I know a lot of people didn't like this author's horror debut, but even if you didn't like Hyde, I think you should give this a go. The pacing was good. All of the characters are really likable and relatable. This is a solid 4-star for me just because at the end, like the last like 30 pages, it got really preachy. It was very much like, this is my metaphor. Didn't you get my metaphor? Didn't you like my metaphor? Here's the metaphor in case you couldn't figure it out on your own, you dumb fuck. Which, like, the author just needs to trust her audience a little bit, I think. That's not to say, like, the message at the end was bad, but it was very spelling it all out in big block letters, you know, not letting the audience figure it out. But, like, overall, the ending was fine. Aside from that, it's just really creepy, especially if you're like scared by clowns or like anything like that. Like the magician is just such a mind fucky sort of terror. I really like this, would highly recommend. And there's gay kissing in it. So this is the morning of day 3 now. I have started the first chapter of Luminous Dead. I was going to read Holly Horror next, but I decided to give this one a go. But yeah, so far I like the writing. I am hoping that I will like this. So, I mean, it starts out in a really creepy cave. I love creepy caves. Creepy caves are totally my jam. So we'll see how far I get through this today. I'm hoping to finish this and then to also finish Holly Horror over the course of this readathon. And if I do that, that'll be over my goal of 3 books. So I'll be happy with that. But yeah, I'll get started on this and I'll check in with you later. A little midday update. I'm about 50 pages into Luminous Dead, and I really like it so far. The cave is really fucking creepy, and so the main character, Gyre, is in a suit, and she has like this, it's essentially, the suit is like a ship, and typically you have a bunch of people helping you direct this ship, like monitoring your vitals, making sure you're not like missing anything and not seeing a thing trying to eat you in the dark, making sure that like, you know, you're going in the right direction, that you can see what you need to see, all of those things. You're supposed to have like a team of those people piloting that suit with you. And there's only one lady who's being very silent, and she does things like gives Gyre injections when she didn't ask for them and it's not an emergency. And like, I'm already so invested, like so angry at M, the person who's doing that, and also like she's clearly hiding shit, and I'm hooked. So I got dressed so we could go out and run some errands, and then I want to come back and read a bunch more of this. Welcome to day 4. I am about 100 pages into The Luminous Dead and still really liking it. I didn't get a ton of reading done last night. Basically, after the afternoon, I was kind of getting it read in little chunks, like 3 to 5 pages at a time between stuff, but that's how it goes sometimes. So my schedule for the next few days is a lot smoother and emptier. So I'm hoping to get most of this read today. I would also like to start on at least one story in the anthology just to see if it's like my vibe. And then, yeah, hopefully get this one done and then move on to Holly Horror. So far, not a whole lot has happened since I last updated you in this. She's still in the cave. The kind of operations lady is still being cagey, but like a little bit sympathetic now, but still cagey. And it feels like it's building towards something. I feel like the midpoint, we're going to get a big reveal here. So excited for that. Excited to see what happens. Wish me luck today. Okay, so it's almost 4 o'clock. I've gotten another 100 pages into Luminous Dead. My prediction about there being like a big reveal at the halfway point was wrong. It was more like a raising the stakes kind of a deal, but it is very exciting. There was a whole subplot with Gyre wanting to find out what happened to her mom, and I really wasn't expecting that to like come to fruition until the end, and I was expecting more of a big reveal at the end, and there still could be, but there's like stuff happening with that right now where like her handler, is like finding stuff immediately, and the pacing of that is kind of nice because I usually expect that that kind of thing is just going to drag on and there's going to be lots of paragraphs about her wondering and wishing and oh goodness, what could it be? But instead there's like actually things happening, so love that for both of us. In the meantime, I did start reading this, and the very first thing in here is a poem called A Fixer-Upper by Amanda C. Davis. It's a poem I just wanted to read you some of the stanzas, if you'll allow me. I had an uncle, very rich. He died without a child, which is how I got the whole estate. I'll tell the truth. It's pretty great. Ashore, the wind just howls at night, and branches sway and block the light, and sometimes just before a storm, when the air is cool and earth is warm, a mist will rise upon the moor, and drift and slither to my door. And then I think I hear a knock. Some nights I lose my breath in shock. From skin to bone, to nerve to spine. Don't worry, though, I'm doing fine. It's only drafty, just a bit, and hard to keep a candle lit. And then my friends will finally visit. This pace isn't creepy, is it? Except the mist upon the moor. A knock, hold on, I'll get the door. I suppose it's cute. It's supposed to be cute. It's supposed to be cute, but that just feels like an A+ poem in 10th grade English class. Just trite. It doesn't really say anything. It's not really a comment on anything. It's just like, ooh, spooky house. Isn't that fun? Without, like, it actually being spooky. I don't know. This felt very insipid to me, and I'm not, like, a poetry critic, so what the fuck do I know? But if that's the tone that they're opening with, I don't know if I'm gonna get through this. We'll try. We will give the other authors a go. I'm sure there are at least a couple stories in here that I would like. There are, let me see how many there are. At least 35. So chances are I'm gonna like something. But yeah, not high hopes. So I'm hoping to get a little bit more into this and then also get most of the way, at least another 100 pages through Luminous Dead. It's feeling like a pretty quick read, but I just don't know how much time I'm gonna have to do that tonight. So we will see how much I feel like procrastinating on other stuff. Good morning. As you can see, I am definitely awake. So, welcome to day 5, I think. I am off to yoga. Usually before yoga, I stop at a little coffee shop and I write a little bit and I read a little bit and I get a little bit of work done. So we're going to do that today. I'm going to see if I can get a little bit further in Luminous Dead, or I might take the anthology with me. I don't know if you can hear Latte in the background. I did feed them this morning. They don't remember it, even though it was moments ago. But yeah, and then this afternoon when I get back, I should have a little bit of time to read. So hoping I can get that polish off. That would be good. So I will see you after yoga. I'm back from yoga. I had to go to a different cafe than my usual cafe today, and I managed to read a couple of stories in the anthology that I brought with me. I've been home a couple of hours, and I managed to... Yeah. Hi. Can I just get through this? This is Latte. Okay, so I've read a little bit more of Luminous Dead. It's really good. I'm still really liking it. We're at the point where we've figured out what's happened to Gyre's mom. We've sort of figured out what's happened to M's thing. I don't want to give any spoilers because I do think I'm going to heavily recommend this book. But I'm about 75 pages from the end, and there's still a lot to unpack here. So I'm excited. I feel like there's going to be a twist at the end. I have my predictions. I feel like it's got something to do with weird mushrooms, but who knows? Hi, yeah, hi. Also read the first chapter of this, and I hate it. I really wanted this to be good and not like a Pulitzer Prize winning good, just like readable. But the prose is so bad. It's rough. It feels like like someone wrote this in high school. Like, they will be a good writer, but you have to give them like 5 or 6 more years, you know? It was just, the main character is a teenager, and it's making her talk like no human would, much less a teenager. And it's like telling us their inner thoughts and then reiterating it for another it's only 1 chapter in. I can't do it. I just can't. So I'm sad about this one. Could have been great. I'm DNFing it because I am not a glutton for punishment. So that just leaves the anthology, which I may or may not get all the way through in the next 2 days. The stories that I did read while I was like commuting and at the cafe were fine. They're fine. Yeah, but not great. So hopefully there's some gems in there. I'm also not gonna like force myself to finish it if I finish the Luminous Dead and like don't really enjoy the anthology. I'll try again to find some sort of audiobook that I can polish off for the next couple of days, but hopefully I will have another update for you after I've done the Luminous Dead. So, I finished the book. I have some thoughts. Overall, I would definitely recommend it, especially if you're claustrophobic or hate the idea of being so far underground that you might never see the sun again, or don't like cave-ins, or were scarred by tremors as a kid. Wholeheartedly recommend this book. I think it's like a 4.5 star for me, just because like the last 10 pages just didn't leave me feeling satisfied. Like, it was like I had a really good 2-course meal. Like, the appetizer was incredible. The main course, sumptuous. And then they forgot about dessert. Like, just like they ran out of dessert. And now I'm just like leaving the restaurant being like, that was amazing. I just want a little something. And like, it's not like I wasn't fed. It's just, anyway, you should go read it. It's still very, very good. Like, go read it. Go. So all I have left is the anthology and maybe seeing if I can get some audiobooks out of the library. But that's day 5, everybody. It's day 6. Welcome. Hi. Glad you made it this far. Work is going to be crazy today, and then this evening I have a wrestling match to go to. I don't know how that happened either. But the goal is to get as much of the anthology read as possible. I was hoping to find another audiobook that I could listen to while I worked, but alas. All of the ones I wanted are like a 7-week hold. A lot of them are on order in my library. So, and I really don't buy new books that often. I have like very limited shelf space. So, but tomorrow I should have plenty of time to polish that off. So, should be fine. I don't anticipate I'll get a ton of reading done today, but we're going to try. So I have good news and bad news. Bad news is, this is terrible. Like, really bad. I'm about 7 stories in, and they've all been objectively shitty. Like, not even like, not to my taste, just the actual writing is terrible. I don't know what the fuck happened here, but like, it's not good. So I might pick through a couple more of these and just like skim and see if there's anything worth doing, but honestly, this is trash. And not like fun trash, but like trash. So, didn't want to DNF 2 books over this readathon, but here we are. The good news is I managed to find a couple of audiobooks, so I am good for the next 2 days. I found The Changeling, which is apparently a TV series, so if I like it, I can also watch that later. It's about a rare bookseller who apparently his wife and child vanish and he has to find them under mysterious circumstances. I don't know how horror-y it is. It feels semi-horror-y, so I think it still counts. And it is written by a POC, so definitely counts for this. And then I also found Ballad of Tom. It's right here. It seems really short. I think it's only a novella, but I love myself a good haunted music thing. So should be good. I should be able to polish off both of these. So I will keep you updated on that. But yeah, this terrible. Do not recommend. Okay, so I am about a quarter of the way through The Changeling. I don't really think it's my sort of thing. It feels very literary in a way that's not just like, oh, this is really good writing. It feels forced, you know? Like, this is the kind of book that I would have to sit through in high school English class and dissect every single intentional metaphor, all the while not actually enjoying the plot because it's not terribly interesting. I feel like we've, like, something finally has happened where, like, the wife has finally started to act weird, but up until this point it's just been like how the main character's parents got together and then his childhood and how he got into books, which was like vaguely interesting, but then a large chunk of it was just like delivering the baby and oh, being a parent is hard actually, which, like, yeah, but it's not very interesting to see someone struggle with sleep deprivation. Like, it's a perfectly valid struggle, but like I don't want to read about that. I want to read about like haunted books and shit, you know? It just feels like this book is longer than it needs to be. But here we are. So, I don't know. We'll see if it shapes up. Maybe I'm the only one who doesn't like this. I don't know. I might give up on it 50% in. I can't have 3 DNFs in 1 week. I don't feel like a spooky smart bitch right now. I feel like a spooky dumb bitch right now for all of the bad book choices. Okay. Well, keep on trucking. Good morning. Welcome to day 7. We're already here. It's been a whole week. It's been a roller coaster. What can I say? I didn't get a whole lot read yesterday after I updated you guys just because wrestling was so much sweaty middle-aged man inner thigh. Okay. Yeah, so I didn't get a whole lot more read, but I had to take the day off today because we have maintenance men coming in, and then I have a doctor's appointment to get my IUD out. What better place to get a bunch of reading done than in a doctor's waiting room, right? So I will definitely prioritize trying to get through Ballad of somebody, I still can't remember. But that's like a 3-hour audiobook, so I should be able to polish that off, and we'll see if I get all the way through The Changeling. I'm not super loving it, like I said, so I don't know. If I don't get through it, I won't be that upset. But yeah, we'll see what happens today. I will update you later. Okay, so I am 30% of the way into the Ballad of Black Tom. I read it this time. I'm waiting for something magical to happen. I didn't realize that I'd picked 2 books by the same author. I just read both synopses and I was like, oh yeah, cool. No critical thinking skills, no thoughts. don't know if this author is for me. I feel like it's too much of a slow burn. Like, it's such a, it's a novella. It's not even a full book. Like, you have so little time to get to the point. Get to the point, my dude. We'll see if it gets any better. I'm heading out to my appointment soon, so I will probably be able to finish that up while I'm there. And then I will maybe check in with you tonight, maybe check in with you tomorrow to see how far I got. It's looking like I won't be able to finish the Changeling by the end of this, which is a little bittersweet, but like also I'm not that into it, so it's kind of fine. I hope everyone else is having a better time with this readathon than I. Look, we had Mr. Magic, and we had Luminous Dead. Both were fucking great. 4.5 stars, so maybe that's the best I can hope for. Okay, so it is Sunday. It is the day after the spooky smart bitch readathon has ended. I did manage to get all the way through the Ballad of Black Tom. I don't think Victor LaValle is for me. I really like the premise of both Ballad of Black Tom and The Changeling. I thought they were interesting. I was hooked. And then the main characters just don't do anything for me. And then the plot takes forever to get going. And then by the time the plot did get going in the Ballad of Black Tom, I didn't care. It just wasn't compelling enough to like reel me back in. And like, I couldn't give you a plot synopsis if I tried, but I listened to it yesterday in basically one sitting. It was just completely unmemorable. I feel like I'm missing something. Because all of the Goodreads reviews are like, this is great. This is so spooky. If you love paranormal horror, you should read this. And like, I didn't get it. I didn't get it. This book just wasn't for me. That author just isn't for me. I'm glad I tried it. Not for me. Hopefully you have better luck with him. Overall recap on how we did over the whole readathon. So I finished 3 books. Mr. Magic, which was 5 stars for me. Luminous Dead, which was 4.5 stars. You should read both of those. They're really good. Ballad of Black Tom was a 1 star. And then I just DNF'd a bunch. All of the other ones, no. These 2 in particular, the writing was just bad. The writing was just bad. With the other ones, it was just not for me. So I think next time going into it, I would have a bigger list of books to pull from, just so that when I end up DNFing stuff, it's not awkward and I don't have to go scrambling for other stuff. I didn't think I was going to DNF 3 books in the span of a week. Maybe I'm just in an especially bitchy mood. I don't know. But I am really happy that Mr. Magic and Luminous Dead were like top tier. There was some low lows. We had some high highs. So overall, I would call this a success. I am planning a Dark Academia Midnight Readathon if you liked this one. So subscribe and stay tuned for that. If you participated in the readathon, let me know what you read and what you liked and what you didn't like. If you read any of these books, also let me know what your thoughts were. But yeah, thanks for joining me on this ride, and I'll see you next time. Bye.